And we're sitting over here at Patty's, trying to make a tape. And my name is Vicki. I'm married to Hank. And I was born on February the 29th, 1924, in a small town north of Toronto called Orillia, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, and I was born in London, Ontario. We came to the United States in 1947.
Where'd y'all meet?
And, where did we meet? Well, I was playing in a band back in, during the war years, WW2. And I was playing drums in a band, and Mom used to come down to the dance hall. That was our form of entertainment in those days.
And somebody introduce you?
Yeah, the orchestra leader.
Who said?
His name was Jack Evans, and he was good friends with Vic's family. Matter of fact, Mom used to spend they used to take care of her during the summertime when the folks were away.
What'd Grandpa think of a band leader taking care of Mom?
Grandpa Lyman?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well.
He was also in the choir. Jack was also in the choir. He was also Hank's band leader. Back in those days, I wasn't allowed to go into any dance halls or anything like that, or places where they were dancing. But when my mom and dad went away in the summertime, Jack and Ada were taking care of me.
How old were you then?
18, 19.
Something like that.
Love at first sight?
Not really.
I don't know.
Because we met, and then I didn't see her then for 3 or 4 years.
She really made an impression on you.
And then I met her up at Godrich, Ontario, when she was vacationing with Evans up there.
I can't remember anything like, while it happened or anything, how, or we were married about 6 months after that in a place called Bedford, Ontario, a little hamlet or village maybe, it might have been
2 blocks
a
long.
village.
Who was there? Who'd you invite?
Hank's family, and they were Catholic, and they weren't allowed to, at that time, were not allowed to be in churches. They weren't allowed to go in a Protestant church. And my father married us. And the only ones that were present was my bridesmaid and Hank's family. The best man was Dave, Hank's brother. And then
Who was your bridesmaid?
Millie Bean.
How'd you know Millie?
I worked with her at Kellogg's. We worked together. I was on the switchboard at Kellogg's, and she was a office worker, secretary, or something like that.
Was she your best friend?
Yes, she was a super, super girl. Absolutely super. So we went to Toronto for the weekend and met Grace there. We had to come back because Hank was playing in the orchestra and he couldn't get any more time off. So he had to come back to work. And I wasn't allowed to work anymore, and I worked at Kellogg's on the switchboard. And back in those days, when you were married, you relinquished your job. You weren't allowed to work, so I didn't work. At least not in Kellogg's. I think I worked after that at McManus's. McManus Petroleum on the switchboard.
And you were in the band then?
Yeah.
How old were you then? 21? 20?
I
22.
played in the band for about 6, 7 years. So I probably from about 17 to I was almost 24. No, that's 1939. Yeah, but I think I got in the band about 1941. It seemed like the war was on already, wasn't it, when I met you?
Well, you can go back farther than that as far as being in the band, because you played in the Moose Boys band.
Yeah.
When he was a really little boy.
It was just a way of making extra money. the job I worked, regular job, I only made $17 a week.
What was that?
Spartan Radio in the service department.
Which at that time was Sparks Worthington over in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Only they're out of business, I think.
Oh, no.
God, 17 a week. What'd you make with the band?
Oh, we made $4 a night for 9 hours. No, 3 hours. 9 o'clock till midnight, or sometimes it would be 8 o'clock until 1 in the morning. Different hours, but and then I also played for what they call jitney dancing, where the people would come on the floor and they would dance for 2 minutes, and each couple would play a nickel, and then they'd take them off the floor and close the floor off, and then they open up the gate again, and we start playing again real quick.
Just for 2 minutes?
Yeah, 2 minutes. Every tune had to be 2 minutes because that's all they got for their nickel. That's why it was called jitney dancing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And before that, I had a better job. I made $5 a week working for Steel Optical in London,
Doing what?
grinding lenses for glasses.
Mm-hmm.
$5 a week. At that time, I could buy my own tobacco. Because tobacco was only 10 cents a package, and they gave you the roll-up papers for free.
What did Grandma and Grandpa think of Mom?
Oh, they thought she was all right.
Grandma and Grandpa Vidge.
Yeah, there was no problem there.
It was little, they didn't know whether we were going to get married or not, and they were Catholic and I was Protestant, and that just wasn't heard of back in those times. But they didn't object. They didn't do anything to harm it, to stop it, as maybe a lot of them would.
Mm-hmm.
But the only stipulation was that we couldn't get married in church. Whether we would have or not, I don't know, because at those times we didn't have any money, So I don't know whether a big wedding would have been slated because of, despite the religions or not. So I don't know, really. I don't think so.
Well, I know you don't remember much about growing up, but you traveled around quite a bit, didn't you, with Grandpa?
Awful lot, yes.
What are
My
some-
brother went to 12 schools in 9 years. We lived as far west as Winnipeg and as far east as Montreal. We lived in Sherbrooke, Welland, St. Catharines, Toronto. Toronto 3 different times, London.
You were born in Aurelia, weren't you?
I was born in Aurelia, just north of Toronto, and then when I was 3 months they moved to Toronto. That's where I went to school. Stayed there for a long time. Then when my mother and father moved from Toronto to London, I went with them. And the rest of the family didn't. They had all married or because of their jobs didn't leave or anything like that. And I've got 1 brother and 2 sisters. Auntie Jean, Auntie Grace, and Uncle Gordon. How about you? Your brothers and sisters?
Yeah. Marie, Mark, Doreen, Rosemary,
Dave?
Dave, and Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was 7 of us.
Did you stay in London all the time then?
I did, yeah. I didn't go anyplace. Just went to school in London.
Except your music took you places, different
Oh.
places.
Yeah, but growing up though.
Short night trip.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Dad driving home. I think it was a 1929 Whippet.
Oh,
We used to travel at crazy speeds of 35 miles an hour.
Wild man.
Yeah. Really whipping down the road. You could go faster on
That's why
horseback.
they called it a whippet?
Yeah. Then we'd go down to my cousin Hosey's farm and we'd get to ride the horses. And when we couldn't ride the horses, just 2 of us would get in front of the carriage and pick up the parts of the wagon that went alongside the horse. And get 2 or 3 kids in the back of the wagon, and then we'd run down the road like a rickshaw, pulling the wagon. No refrigeration. No air conditioning. Everything was,
Oh.
but the food was good. It was kept in the barn. You could keep the milk. And it wasn't pasteurized, but they'd boil it at times, you know. Bacon and sausage hung over top of the stove.
So did your pepperoni?
Yeah,
Was that in the house or at the farm?
at the farm. Oh, in our house too. Dad made sausage and it'd be hanging over top of the stove and come home and if dinner wasn't ready, just cut off a piece of sausage and get a slice of dry bread. Eat it.
Now, talking of your father, he's the most super person that ever walked, I think.
Well, Grandpa worked at OPG his whole life, didn't he?
Yeah, he made gum for 50 years. Yeah, he had 9 jobs in 1 year and 1 job for 50 years.
Where'd Grandpa come from?
Who?
Grandpa, your dad.
Terracina, Italy. I think he come over when he was about 15 years old.
Grandma was from London,
London,
Canada?
England.
England, right?
Yeah, London, England. She came over, I guess they were so poor in the old country that they thought they could do better over here, so they shipped the kids over. And all the Saunders family was put in an orphanage for the first couple of years till my grandfather could find a job and locate everybody.
They get them all together?
Yeah, yeah, they all come out together.
How many were there? Aunt Con?
Saunders was Martha and Harry, Charles, Dave, Alf, and Connie. Yes, there's about 7 of them too.
And who's left now?
Just Aunt Con. She's more or less in a coma right now from a heart attack, so she would be the last of the family. Right now I'm in the process of tracking down a vigilante from New Jersey who's been corresponding. He feels he's my cousin. And I do believe he is from all the information we got so far.
Tell the story about how we found him. I thought that was great.
Oh yeah. First, Paul, my son Paul, was in the airport. And they paged a name, and the last name was Vigilante, so Paul picked up the phone. And by the time he had got the phone, John Vigilante had answered the call. In the meantime, his wife Nancy wrote a letter to Ladies' Home Journal, a joke that her daughter had quoted, and she received $25 for doing so. And the man in New Jersey saw the note, the joke, and thought it was his daughter-in-law, so he called up, and daughter-in-law said no, it wasn't her. So when he noticed the address in Lansing, he called long distance, and he got through to Lansing, and he talked to Paul. And from then, he started asking questions, and they found out that his family had come from the same town as my dad, so we do feel that he is a cousin.
Want to get your notes out and see what else?
Pardon?
Want to get your notes out and see what else?
My notes. Oh, I got lots of notes.
And tell these road crews, so
Oh,
don't forget.
did I ever tell you what we used to do at night?
I could hear it through the wall. You didn't have to tell me.
No, I mean, no television. We used to all just sit around and listen to Jack Armstrong and Buck Rogers and
Oh, really?
stuff like that. But as soon as 8 o'clock came, everybody had to go to bed. They wouldn't allow us to stay up.
After 8?
After 8, yeah. It didn't matter if it was, well, we didn't have daylight saving time back then. But by 8 o'clock, everybody was in bed.
I'm gonna have to hear what she heard. She never said anything about this.
So,
Now, what else? My mother came from Ireland, Belfast, and my dad came from England. She came over when she was about 15 with her brother. He died about a year later what was then known as consumption of TB, and she was alone. My father belonged to the Salvation Army, and that's as far as I know about how they met there. And he went in as an officer to the Salvation Army, and she got married to him and went from there. That's really all I remember about knowing anything.
My father bought his first house for $500. And each time we got it all fixed up real good. Wallpapering, because you didn't paint in those days, you just put wallpaper over the lath board. And he'd sell it and make a few bucks and buy another one. So we lived in several places in London before I finally left home.
How old were you when you left?
Well, actually, in those days, they'd be glad if you didn't come home for a meal because it just meant more food on the table. But from my time I was about 14 years old, I just kind of drifted away and come home, drifted away and come home. They were kind of steady when I was maybe from 17 until about 21 because they had a bigger home at that time and the kids were starting to move away. And I used to help, do things like get Dad's car painted. I got an old refrigerator for him because in those days everybody had ice boxes, And things were just starting to pick up good, so whenever I made a couple extra bucks, I used to help him out a little bit. Because my dad never made big money. During the Depression, he made $12 a week, working 7 days a week, from 7 in the morning until 6:30 at night. And if you wanted to work, you had to be there. We had a friend that wanted Dad to go on the welfare, and Dad wouldn't do it because, he had so many kids and everything, but Dad just said no. He said, I'll work. He's kind of a proud man.
Super guy.
And
Yeah.
made good spaghetti.
Yeah?
Mm. He made good food, He could do anything. He just had a knack for that kitchen, just like.
Like my dad would give me a quarter. He'd make $12 a week. And he'd give me a quarter and tell me to go to the bakery on Saturday night because they didn't deliver on Sunday. And he'd make me wear my old holiest pants that I had. And I'd go there and I'd get maybe 6-8 loaves of bread for a quarter. They'd be going stale already, But my mother would cover them with a towel and steam them and soften them all up. That'd be our bread for the week. And we still had the wood stove. We had a potbelly stove in the living room, a wood stove in the kitchen. That was on Brisbane Street, so I was about 12 then. Used to cook in the kitchen and have somebody'd have to carry water up on top of the stove to have a bath on Saturday night. Scrub the floors, and cut wood, and take care of the chickens.
Who had the farm?
My cousin Hosey. He had 300 acres down around Delhi.
Tobacco farm.
Yeah.
You went down there every summer, didn't you? Worked?
No.
No?
I never worked the farm. I was too busy having fun at the playground. Maria and Mark, I think, went on the farm.
Oh, I thought you worked the farm.
No.
And the tobacco.
Never did. I was just a friend of Hosey's, that's all.
Oh.
I worked on a farm for 2 weeks. My dad drove me out
Oh.
there. And I was going to get $5 a month for doing it. And I just, it was too much work. It was from daybreak until dark. We used to get, I was in the Kiwanis Club too. That's when the Kiwanis Club was just starting up because we had such a large family. And I used to get twice a week at the YMCA for free for swimming, all the sports activities and everything.
That's how you got into the band, isn't it?
Yeah, Moose Boys Band.
When you quit the band, is that when you moved to the United States?
Yeah.
And decided not to play music anymore?
Yeah, well, it was too tough over here to get in. You had to go for auditions. You had to wait 6 months before you could play a steady job.
And you had
So,
to know somebody
I
who knew
just said-
somebody.
Might as well get a job and go to work. And that's what I did. You talk about what kids used to have that, or what they have nowadays at Christmas time. When we got Christmas, if you were like 12, 13, or 14, you'd get a sweater or a pair of boots, you know, something that you could wear to school. And the kids would get, the younger ones would get maybe a toy gun or a little doll or something like that. But you didn't get really gifts like a Christmas gift like the kids get nowadays, you know. Nobody else could afford to buy anything, so you just get something that you're going to, they wouldn't buy it for you in October when you needed it, they'd buy it for you at Christmas.
Tell them about the time that you had it taken away from you. Your mother wanted to give it to Dave because he didn't.
Oh, it was a gun.
I know.
I wanted a gun real bad with a holster. They didn't have enough money to buy anybody else any gifts, so they asked me on Christmas Eve if I'd give the gun up. So there'd be a present for my brother because he was younger than me. I gave it up.
You can imagine at that time, you know.
Yeah, like Mom and Dad, they would fill up a stocking. They put, like ours would have an orange in it, an apple, banana, the fruit, something like that, you know. And their sock would have a big piece of coal in it, something like that, you know.
Coal is when you were bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I guess they didn't do anything good all year, so they put a big piece of coal in their stocking.
Oh, I had never
Yeah.
heard of that interpretation.
Always.
Newspaper, they'd put newspaper and fill it up, make it look like it was full of something good. There'd be nothing in it.
What were your Halloweens like? Your dad made candy apples, didn't he?
Yeah, Dad used to, well, you could get a bushel of apples for
Yeah.
about 30, 40 cents, so he'd go out and get a whole bunch of apples, and
And
he'd
he'd
take,
make his own taffy.
I'd get the wood, chop it up, and he would make sticks for it, and he'd jab them in the apples and dip it in, and we'd be all dipping apples as fast as the kids were coming around,
Jeez.
picking up their candy apples.
I remember hearing about that and I didn't see it.
It'd be 40, 50 kids, you know, because like every house, oh, we didn't go off the block, just our block. Every house had 3, 4, 5 kids. That was Brisbane Street,
Was it?
yeah. But Dad was good with candy. He could make any kind of candy. Peanut brittle, cold taffy, popcorn. He'd make popcorn balls and dip them in this pink stuff, you know. It'd be like it had a perfumey smell. Strawberries, like.
He always had a bag full of bubble gum.
I remember Grandma did.
Mm-hmm.
Always brought out the bubble
Well, today I could have been a wealthy man if I had any sense at all about saving things. The Ford Gumball Company used to work. It was like the OPG made gum for them.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had the baseball cards coming out back in 1925, 26, like that, Dad knew that we couldn't eat the gum. But he would bring home a little bit for us. But he'd bring home a book, like an album with all the cards in it that had not been separated yet.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd play with them, you know, and throw them away. Then he'd bring us home another one, and we'd play with them for a few days, then we'd throw them away. We could have baseball cards, worth a fortune. We
Well,
never realized the value of them in those days.
we never knew the value of them.
The big wall phones,
Who in the world would
if
have
we'd
thought?
known, you know, that everything was going out, and we could have saved one. What do you want that for? Throw it out.
Rat packers.
Oh, yeah, everybody has that because no one knows at the time, like as of today, nobody knows what's going to be an
Yeah.
heirloom later.
I had a big lantern that was off of a Model T Ford. It was all cast, you know, and they would put the carbide lamp in it. And you light the carbide, you know, and adjust the thing, and you had one on each side of your car. That Chi, I believe. Dad's first car, I think, was the old Willys. And then, well, that's another thing in the winter. You just put the car in the garage and put it up on blocks. You didn't drive it in the winter time at all. Because the streetcars would go up and down the street and they would cut big grooves.
There was enough room.
And over top of the track so that there was great big hoops like this, you know, and if you would go
Yeah.
try to get across that and you got stuck, you'd turn sideways like that, you'd have to go maybe 2-3 miles down the road so you could, where somebody'd already cut a groove, so you could get out of the railroad tracks. So you just parked the car for the winter, you didn't drive it.
It's amazing. It's like I'm in another world right now. I'm thinking, I'm listening to these stories that I heard when I was a child of my parents and their
You know how you
like
used to get up the
narrow
hill?
roads and the tracks that you didn't ride on because the
Yeah. Well, everybody had change. You'd put the change on as soon as the winter came.
yeah.
Put the change on the 2 back wheels. And when you get to a big hill, like in those days, they didn't cut around the hills like they do now, or cut right through them. They just went up over the top, see? So if you came to a big hill, you'd hope that there was, like, say, 2 or 3 of us, and you'd get out of the car, and one would drive, and the other one would push to get the car to the top of the hill. And when you got to the top of the hill, if it was all icy, you'd turn the car around, and you'd back down like this. And one would drive, try to keep the car in the middle of the road, and the other one would hold the car from sliding sideways, you know, until you got to the bottom of the hill. It was crazy. That's why you just didn't want to take a car. When I played in the band, there was many a nights that we should have stayed home, but we go anyhow, you know, because it was only maybe 40 miles one way. It was terrible. One of the guys got sick one night, and we stopped the car, and he got out of the car and disappeared. It was a 20-foot ditch alongside the road. It was full of snow. And when he stepped out of the car, he just zipped
Oh my
down.
gosh.
Yeah, we had to go like this and part the snow, pull him up. Nicky Nichols.
Good thing it wasn't the car. Nick and Edna.
Yeah. Did you ever meet them?
Oh yeah,
I thought so.
a lot.
Really?
More younger.
We went back to London and tried to find them on Inkerman Street. They didn't even know. In fact, I don't know. We went to 104 Inkerman and I didn't remember the house at all. I don't know why I thought it was way back in.
No, right up on the street. Great big brick house.
Her sister came over and was in a wheelchair to our house, or his sister, when I was about 19.
I don't know.
She came over to our house to visit. She was in a wheelchair.
I don't remember that. Can we think of anything else?
Yeah. By the way, for anybody's information, we're over at my son's house, Michael. And Patty is here too, but she's not saying anything.
So, why'd you decide to go to Detroit?
Just to get more money, get a better job. Now, I had it in my mind when I was 7 years old. I wanted to go to the United States, but I never made it.
How about coming over here because of music? And when you got over here, you found out it was too
Yeah.
tough. You couldn't crack it. I mean, it was just
It was a click.
a click
Yeah.
that you couldn't.
You couldn't get in.
In fact, the president of the Musicians Union in London was the brother of the one over here in Detroit. And we thought a letter of introduction alone would help, you know. It didn't help at all.
So when did Annie Marr come over? Like shortly after, or at the same time?
Before.
Or before?
Before us, yeah.
Yeah, she was over before. In fact, she was a fantastic help when we first got here. Because Hank couldn't come over at the same time I did. We came over, but he had to go back and finish out his contract with the Musicians Union. And it was about a month, I think. But Marg, Aunt Polly, they found an apartment, the one on 70 West Warren for me. No, I think I stayed with Marg and Bob, and then they found the apartment. But it was fabulous to come over here and find someone that you knew, you know.
Yeah, we lived on the east side of Detroit for about 2 months, I think, and then we moved down to Warren and Woodward Avenue, right by Wayne University, which is now a parking lot, by the way.
Mm.
They tore the place down.
When'd you go to Coughlin?
After the twins were born.
Yeah, so about 1950.
About 6 months after the twins were born,
Yeah.
they asked us to get out because we were too noisy, and that's true. But we lived in an apartment building that the windows opened to a very high, like all the apartments eventually had one window that opened into this vacuum. Like you could see across maybe 50 yards across to the next apartment. And it was all the way up about 5 flights of stairs. And it was just in this vacuum, you open your window and everybody would just, it would just bounce
You know,
right back at you.
remember? Hot, and they had cockroaches there,
Sure.
like what they
Yeah.
have down in Houston, about
Yeah, but
4
they
inches
asked,
long.
they
They'd
asked
fly
us to
from one
leave.
cabinet to another.
So that wasn't Coughlin yet then?
No, that was on 70 West Warren.
Oh.
When the boys were about 6 months old, and then we moved over to Coughlin.
And lived,
We were there
Over
for,
any
until the
Mark?
boys were about 5.
Yeah, we lived over
Uh-huh.
Marg, and then she bought the house next door. But,
You were 3 when we moved to Allen Park.
how'd you ever find suburbia?
we just kid.
Betty Boozes?
She bugged me and bugged me every day. And then we go for a ride. She'd say, "It's open. It's open," like that. So one day I said, "You want a house? You're going to get a house." We drove out here, and
I went to see
they would
Betty
just put the
Boozes.
foundation in
She,
when we got here. And you kids, the boys were old enough. They were about 4 because
They
they
were.
were running across the planks in the building that was being built.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Ours was the first house built. Finished.
How did you know Betty Boozes?
They lived next door to us.
from on Copland
Her aunt and uncle owned the bar up the corner.
at the corner of the house, and we
The
became
Treasure
friends,
Bar?
I guess.
Treasure Bar.
And then she moved over here herself. She was, for a good reason, she had an aunt and uncle who lived in Dearborn.
Mm-hmm.
And then she bought her house, and then we came over to see her, and she said, "Well, come on, just let's ride around." And we saw this house. It wasn't even up yet, but we saw the models that were, and they were all the same.
Yeah.
And there was this one and the one behind us on the other street that were available, but they weren't built. So we waited and we took
Yeah, we borrowed the money from the credit union, $1,800 for the down payment. And the
as well as the rent.
first payment was $57.
Vicky go to work.
And
That was-
I think $26 went on the principal, something like that. The
Mm.
rest was all taxes
30
and
years.
insurance.
Do you know what we paid for that house? 10.5,
Oh,
a brick house, 10.5, and it was,
but over 30 years you pay a lot
Yes.
more than that.
oh.
We paid, I think we
Heavens,
paid in
yes.
about 26 and a half
And we
years.
didn't pay it, we didn't have the time shortened because we couldn't, you know, there was no big lump sum that would help us pay it off. Oh yeah, we did. But at the same time, if we hadn't, we wouldn't have had a house now. I mean, because we moved then was the
They were
time.
going
it
up-
was
When
just-
we bought that
well,
house, they were going up $1,000 a month. Really, 1,000 a month. Because Al bought his just about 7, 8 months before us. And Al paid 16.5, I think. He paid 16.5 for that great big house.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible.
It is, that is the, but you guys grew up in that park across the street.
Mm-hmm.
Mom used to put red on all of you so that we could look out there and we'd see the red hats. We'd know you were still there.
And, oh, you had a few light bulbs on too, you know,
Yeah.
in your head.
Pull the porch light on.
8 o'clock, that lamp went on at the corner. It was so seldom that I know of course I wasn't there that often, but so seldom that you guys goofed up on that. You were just so good.
Dad had beat us.
Yeah.
Sure, they beat you every night.
Yeah.
You probably
8:05,
do
get out
that.
the whip.
And you, all three of you went to the same three schools from the very beginning to the end, although the kindergarten for Paul and Michael was at the school over in East Detroit. But
You
other
sure
than
that?
that, yeah.
No. They were only coming up 5 years old when we moved in over there.
Is that when you went to work?
You might have went
No,
to a preschool.
no, I was a little, I had no transportation, nothing. I had to, we were at Bruning's, and Jack
There was
said,
Barth's before that now.
Bar's Grill, that's right.
Used to go there at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, I had to go there
Did
at
we
that
swap
hour.
cars?
No.
I think we used to swap
I had to
cars.
go there and work from 4 to 1, so Hank could get back and take the car for 2 to 10 over on the east side of Detroit. And that's we'd say hello coming up the steps and bye. That was it. It's the only thing though, we only had one car. There was nothing, I couldn't get into what I really wanted to do, and that's the Bell telephone. The only thing I knew enough to do, PBX. But, and then we, of course, we needed the ready cash too, which meant a waitress work. And I had to have some place where when he was off, I could work. So we'd have some, look at that puppy. Oh. Well, there's a cute little puppy across there from Patty's. Little white thing. Anyway, I started to work. I was there for 21 years.
It goes so quickly.
Oh. And the older you get, the quicker it goes. The quicker you realize that it's going, you know. The funny thing about it is the thing that bothers me the most, maybe it does Hank, when those pension checks come, woo, another month.
Yeah.
And that whole
I
month.
see another
and-
month and where did it go?
Yeah, where did the time go? It's unreal. Especially in,
Money.
well, I'm thinking of the time too. It just, zoom.
Well, where'd you start to work when you got over here, Dad?
Oh, I worked for General Mills. And then I worked for Rosebud Dairy.
Ludington News.
And I worked for Ludington News. Then I worked for Brickley Dairies. Then I went back over to
Rosebud.
Rosebud. It was Rosebud, New Jersey. United Dairies, United Twin Pines, Farm Aid Dairy, and retirement. So now sit on ass. You can scratch that off.
Now we're
too.
getting down to the amazing. This is part 2 of our video.
Yeah.
Get back inside, get back inside. I just wanted to get on camera. Just wanted to get on camera.
Well, I wanted you on camera. Why can't you sit here?
I will. We'll get silly later.
We just had a gorgeous cup of tea.
Okay. You just moved to Detroit. You're in Allen Park. You got 3 kids.
Yeah.
You've gone to work at the bar. You're
But-
working at the dairy.
Before we had the kids, the doctor told Mom that she could never have any children. And that was more or less instrumental in us moving to Detroit. Figuring that, well, no kids will make some money, you know. And right away she got pregnant.
Must have been
And
the
she
water.
lost that one. She lost it in a bar. We'd been out walking at the zoo, and we stopped in around the corner from where we lived to have a drink. And Mom went to the bathroom, and the girl come out and says, "You better go in the bathroom and see your wife." And I said something
can't
to
go
the
in there.
effect, "Why don't you take care of her? Because I'm too busy drinking." And the girl yelled at me. She said, "Get your butt in that bathroom. Your wife is having a miscarriage." And that's when we picked her up and carried her back to the apartment. Then the ambulance came and took her to the hospital. But we didn't even know that anything like that would happen.
You knew you were pregnant though?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
5 months. So,
And then the twins. And then Gordon, who died.
the firstborn was born in August, and the following July, the twins were born. The following August, Gordon was born. Then the following December, you were born.
What did Gordon die of?
He had his esophagus tube wasn't joined. That's your feeder tube from your throat to your stomach. And it wasn't joined, so they operated on him. He was only 4'11". He was an 8-month baby. And they operated on him and joined it.
Yeah, but they
But he
operated
died
through
of
his
pneumonia.
they operated through his back first. They thought they could get at it better. And they couldn't. So then they operated through his chest and they joined it. But in the process, being a little baby like that, he had no resistance and he caught pneumonia and died. I think, what did he live, 4 days? 5 days?
He was born on a Wednesday and he died on Sunday.
They called a specialist in from Chicago. He flew in there and his bill was $600.
This was way back. I believe now Gordon would be
It'd be
35
1950.
if he was alive.
1950. The guy flew from Chicago.
The thing that amazes me too is that both the twins, there were 3/6 each. They were in incubators for a month. Their bill was only $1,060. Can you imagine? But we did have Blue Cross. But my point is, at 3/6, and they went down to 3 ounces, 3 pounds, and they saved them. Henry Ford Hospital, you were all born there. But they saved those babies, you know, and it's just amazing. When I see a pound, 2 pound, 3 pound baby, or now when I see Nancy and Paul's twins, they're so healthy, you know. And yet Paul and Michael were, when they started going, they were just fine. And how they saved those children, a lot of people wonder then,
Yeah.
because of the facilities. And you were 8, 10 and a half when you were born.
We
But-
was the baby factory there for a while, Mom.
Yeah,
Christmas.
5 babies
Just
in
before
4.5
Christmas.
years.
There was about 16 inches of snow falling that day. And I just jumped in the car, put the gas on like crazy and turned the wheels. And the car made a complete turnaround in the middle of the street. We headed up towards Warren Avenue so we could go across the Ford Hospital, and I went wide open all the way, and I never seen a cop, never seen a policeman.
Well, I
When
was-
the boys were born, we saw a policeman, and he stopped us up on 2nd Boulevard finally. That's where I got stopped, and he was a motorcycle cop, and I just pointed at him and yelled. With the window open, I screamed at him, "She's having a baby," and he just went like that,
He led the way.
took off. But he sure followed us right up into the hospital,
Yeah.
right up the front steps, and he kept staring at us to make sure, you know.
He said didn't even look at it. Of course, I was only 7 months, so I wasn't large by a long shot. I was a big
You
person.
were big enough.
Oh yes, but
You
not.
were big enough, because I remember you dancing down at Grand Bend that weekend, and you looked terrible. Let me tell you a story about your mother.
I know this one.
We were at Grand Bend, and there's a nice beach there, and the sand, but as you go in, there's like little pebbles that go down, and then you go into about 4 feet of water. And so your mother didn't like to get wet because of the
Easy.
cold. She would run and take a big dive into the water. So we're up there for a long weekend. The storm come up, and the water was dashing up the beach about an extra 20 feet, so it was like less beach. So Mom takes a run, and she ran about 15, 20 feet, and I'm screaming at her, "Don't dive." And she dove, and it didn't drop off. It was only about 1 foot of water. So when she got up, it looked like somebody had taken a pickaxe and worked her over. She had stones up in her head. And we sat there for an hour, and I'm picking stones out of her forehead. And you know how the bleeding stops and the scabs form right away?
Mm.
She insisted, we're going to that dance tonight. So we went to the dance. I made her keep her head in the side of my face because she looked like she'd gone through a plate glass window. Really. So I always
And
put that.
he firmly believes that that's what's happened to me ever since.
No, I was about to say, I really believe that's what was the cause of you going in the hospital there just after Kathy was born. Because she didn't know anybody for a whole month. She just come home, the taxi driver brought her home. And she'd been shopping. And she went to the car and sat there. And I guess she was screaming and yelling. And the cab driver realized there was something wrong, so he brought her home. And I looked all over for the car. It took us about 2 hours to find the car because she couldn't tell us where she left it. And then she didn't know anybody for about a month. And I walked in one day and she knew me. So the doctor says, oh, send her home. But I do believe that was from that dive you took that time. Because she ran and she went like this and went boom. And you could see the body vibrate and then she just crumbled in the sand.
Was that before I was born?
It was a long time after. I was working at
I don't remember.
I was working at
I don't
Bars.
think Kathy was born.
I was working at Barstank. We were living over here. She was 3 when we moved over here.
Okay.
You still out dancing till midnight, huh?
Oh, when we
It was a beautiful place. It was all screened in, you know,
Well,
but
they
it was
knew.
up high like that, and the wind, they'd open all
Sitka
the
and Ben Hank.
things, the doors, and the wind would blow through there. It was so cool.
You knew that pavilion up there, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's gone now. Somebody burned it down.
Yeah. And the gift shop.
Yeah.
It's gone. Yeah, that,
We've got some great memories of every summer up at Grand Bend.
do you?
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
dirty
Really?
Dodgems. Remember how they were so fresh?
How long did we go? Was it consecutively?
Mm-hmm. Because I always got to bring a friend,
Yeah, you brought Linda
Franco,
Frankel one time. I remember that because of her long, crazy hair.
and Judy Bruning's been up there with us.
Hmm.
Used to buy those little, go to that gift shop and get the little
Horses.
ceramic horses or dogs.
For,
Judy,
or for the Mayrose boy, for babysitting or
Mhm.
something?
or for Linda. I used to get them for my friends.
Yeah.
Dad would get up and go fishing at the crack of dawn.
Yep. And
Bacon
as
and
usual.
eggs would be ready
Didn't
by the
catch
time we got
everything.
back.
Yeah, usually
Isn't
we had
that
breakfast
amazing?
about 10 o'clock up there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember those things.
And all the adults would come, you know, all the aunts and uncles and kids would come and
Mhm.
play on the beach and jump
Yeah.
off that cement thing. Yeah, those Dodgers were filthy. Boy, remember the putt-putt golf when I got the bees all came out and stung me?
Yeah.
That was the year we had the fire too. Wasn't it same year?
That,
Yeah.
we were just talking about
That
that
man
this
is
weekend.
dead now. The people across the street, remember Mary Rogers and her husband John Parlane?
Mm-hmm.
And they put
He's
a,
dead. Just died.
they put a string to his toe so that he wouldn't wake Mary up when he wanted to go fishing. They
Yeah.
pull the string.
Yeah. We sat up drinking till 4 in the morning. We were going to go fishing at 7. So we tied a string around his toe and run the string outside the window, and we said we'd wake him up. So we come over there at 7. We were pulling on that rope, and finally we heard, yeah, I'm coming. Oh, dude. Just to go down and sit on that pier. But that was nice.
Yeah. And on the windy days when the water just come wash over top.
Yeah.
The only bad days at Grand Bend were the rainy ones. Then we couldn't keep you happy or satisfied. And got some great pictures.
Yeah, sand turns to mud real quick down there. And every bed you get in them, they'd be loaded with sand. Didn't matter
And
how
we
you
would-
brushed them.
We were never afraid of you when you went to the store. Nobody was going to hurt you.
I wasn't concerned. We'd go to
No,
the
no,
bakery every.
then,
I
you know, then,
yeah.
you know,
You'd never thought of it.
no, you'd walk the
It's like
streets.
nowadays, if there was a crazy woman screaming in a car, no taxi driver would take her home.
No,
Mhm.
no.
Might run her over, but he wouldn't take her home. Remember, we used to go to the bakery every morning and pick out a sweet,
Really?
a donut or a chocolate or something.
Did you have your
Yeah.
own money then?
We had allowance,
Did you?
maybe a quarter or something
Yeah.
Was that for every day or
a week. We get that a week.
and you saved it up? How did Mike get those steak knives? That game of chance, I know.
Wasn't he skeet ball? He used to be real
Yeah.
good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You'd have to spend about $15 and then you'd get those coupons.
Uh-huh.
So that, what were they worth? Probably $3 for 6 of them?
Oh, they were gold though when you got them.
Yeah.
It didn't matter how much you spent on them.
They've got a swing now that just petrifies me. It goes like this, you know, and you're on it. You're standing on it like you're
The
pumping
swing gyms,
yourself.
yeah, we used to be on those. We'd get on
Were
those.
they and go like this?
Yeah.
And then you got enough momentum to get them all the way around.
Really?
hmm
Oh.
We used to compete with each other to see who could get over top first, because there were two of them next to each other, and the boys would get in one,
Yes.
and Judy and I'd get in the other, and go back and forth. You just pump, and it goes up and down, pump.
I mean big, like a
Pump.
Yeah.
like a Ferris wheel kind of thing.
Yeah, but you're standing in a cage.
Yes, almost as big as that, isn't it?
Mhm.
You're in a cage?
Mhm.
Oh, see, I don't remember that.
Yeah. And then the trampolines, they had trampolines over there for a while. And the French fries, Cheryl Ann French fries, in the cup with all the vinegar in the bottom.
Yeah, quarter of an inch
No,
of grease.
the grease in the bottom
See,
too.
I just remember the vinegar, because you'd get down to the fries that were at the bottom, and they'd be just marinated in vinegar. You'd pucker up. Oh, gosh.
Would you like to trade me places?
Mm.
I'd like you to trade me places.
No,
Patty,
we're
don't
doing
trade me
fine.
places.
No thanks.
Well, you
Yeah,
all
that used to be
graduated,
The highlight.
thank goodness. What the highlight?
The Grand Bend for
Mm,
the summer. The horseback
I'm
riding.
surprised,
The horseback
yes.
riding. We used to rent horses.
Then they had motor scooters.
John never got to do
Just
motorcycle.
as the boys got bigger, I think they were about 14, and I was saying, no, you're not going to ride them, but finally we let them ride them. And they took off and those darn things like they'd been driving them all their life.
Hmm.
Gee,
I don't remember those.
yeah.
You had to go on the highway for the horse. No, at the top of the street.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You crossed the highway at one
Mhm,
point, but
mhm.
then it was back in the woods.
They have it down quite a way down the highway now. I don't think that other place where you used to go, I don't think that's available now.
Mm-mm. There was a truck stop or something when we went by there. And we
Oh.
stopped to make a phone call.
Oh, yes. I'd forgotten that one too. Last year we were up there. But you can almost see now how caught up the rest of the Marks family in particular, how caught up they are, you know, to try to get them all together up there.
Oh, I was thinking more of our family.
Yeah. Imagine going to Grand Bend with Patty and Mike and their two, and Paul and Nancy and their three, and Kathy and her one. And
All
you
the
know,
sand. And don't forget Sam.
Oh, and Sam and Pepper.
Yeah.
Yes.
They get to roll around in the sand and swim
Sand
and go
Yeah.
back and roll
Same tranquilizer. Throw them in
in
the
the
car.
car.
Yeah,
We used to give
there's-
tranquilizers so to Chippy.
Yeah.
That was because he was hyped, wasn't it?
He would jump from the front to the back.
Yeah, I went with him from your house to the bar one time.
What, with Chippy?
Uh-huh.
Well, can you think of anything else? Or how far are we doing?
Well, we've got another hour to go. We just keep talking. Aren't you having fun?
Oh, yes. Fun.
You look like you're having so much fun.
Oh, gosh.
It is true, though, that the cameras do make you 10 pounds heavier.
See, I don't think that's true of you, but Papa looks heavier. That's weird.
You mean this is me for real?
No, I don't think you look heavy in that picture. Well, Papa looks heavy and he's not that heavy. Look big through here, but I don't think you're in your
That's
mind.
all. Not popping the buttons yet.
That's what I mean, you're not
Knock
that
it
big.
off. Giving me a close up there.
Mike's mug.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes Tone.
Well, say goodbye.
Yes, we will say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
For another day.
Okay. Bye.
It's okay. That's
Patty, come here.
I didn't know.
Come here.
I won't be acting so stupid.
Say cheese.
Don't hit it low.
Say hi. Come in and come into the room. It's recording.
Well, I'm not ready.
Oh, Heather, are you on TV? Say hi. Can you say hi?
tired of it.
Say hi, Heather. Yeah, let me hug, please.
Say hi.
Hi. Hi. That's enough.
That's enough?
That's enough. That's enough.
Not too like that.
Heather, look at Uncle Mike and say hi. Look at Uncle Mike and say hi.
It's recording the TVs too. What?
Say hi to Uncle Mike.
Oh, that looks cute.
You guys talking or anything?
No, we've had
Hi,
it, Michael. We don't
hi.
need to be on anymore.
I
I
did.
need to be on again.
Come on. One kiss. Don't you love Uncle Mike no more?
Let me hold her, Dad.
Want to go with Angie?
Come
Well,
on,
who do you want to go with?
Okay.
Aunt Patty's not ready to come in yet.
Say Aunt Patty.
Watch
Say
it, Mike.
Aunt Patty. Say Aunt Patty.
Get up.
Say Aunt Patty.
Look out, Angie.
You gotta get up, Michael.
Oh. Hey, Tony, that's enough. That's good.
I'm sorry. Look out.
Angie, will you put this stuff away
If
for
you want to
us?
sit with Aunt Patty, please look at Aunt Patty on TV.
Look up. We don't want the top of your head.
Oh,
Where's it going?
Would you give me a kiss? You want to give
Okay,
Aunt Patty a big
that's
hug and a
enough,
kiss
dear.
on TV?
Thank
Up,
you.
dear.
There, smile at Tony.
Don't go so fast, Tony. We got the exercise bike now.
Aunt Patty.
Look at Mom and Aunt Heather. Heather, give Aunt Patty a kiss for TV.
is the recording on?
Push the
Yeah.
button right here.
Here?
Nope. Just above your.
Here?
No. Right there.
There?
Okay.
What's that do?
That'll move them in and out.
What's that mean?
I mean, it moves it further back.
Oh.
Angie, give Mom a kiss and a hug.
Look at Tony.
How about for me? Angie,
Put them back.
Tony, come here. Turn around.
No, put
Don't
them back.
go so fast.
You can get them out later. Put them back, okay? Look at Angie, give Uncle Mike a kiss and a hug. Go give Uncle Mike a kiss and a hug. And get in the movie.
Come on and get in the movie.
Go get
Heather?
in the movie and give Uncle Mike. Yeah, that's Angie's. Go give Uncle Mike a kiss and a hug in the movie.
We want to show this movie to your mom and daddy when they come, okay? Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss.
Give Uncle Mike a kiss for the movie.
Your mama won't believe it. Give me a
Give her a
kiss.
kiss.
Give Uncle Mike a kiss. Oh.
Where's Sam? Did anybody get Sam?
No.
Let's
I want to
get
get
him.
Sam on ours.
Don't kick him out.
Yes, what a baby. Okay, Sam. Okay, that's enough.
Who's that ham beside you there?